small small uh, small problems can destroy the entire project. That's why in those big huge projects, risky projects, spiral model is used. Management is more complex as spiral model is used in huge risky projects. That's why management is done more complexly for 100% perfection. This method requires a lot of documentation, as this model is used for huge projects. That's why it requires also a huge amount of documentation. Thank you, everybody. That's all.
Thank you, both of you. It's a nice presentation. So my simple question to both of you, uh, in spiral model, how we are going to cover all the steps, all the phases. Go through your diagram, spiral model diagram, and explain how you are going to operate the individual phases.
Sir, to operate the individual phases, so we first need planning to build a software. Then we need coding to make the software. Then the deployment part. And before deployment, we have to make sure that the software is fully okay, and there is
No, I'm what I am asking that you share your screen and go through the diagram.
okay, sir.
My question is that the diagram is like a spiral. Okay. So in that diagram, how you are going to there are some circular lines. That means we go through each and every steps multiple times.
Yes, sir.
Sir, how my question is that how we execute our feasibility study or our coding or our designing of the software or our testing of the software in spiral model, because we travel the same phases in multiple times, but the area covered is something different. So can you justify it?
Yes, sir. By using the task region, the past spiral, the first spiral task region, that's indicate concept development. Then the next spiral that indicates system development. After that, the next spiral that indicates the system enhancement. That's how we can operate the project.
Okay. Anil Raton, my question is to you that you have mentioned in the disadvantage that management is required more management. Can you justify this point? Why the management uh, is a disadvantage, or why it requires more management while developing a software?
In spiral model, the processes are uh, repeated repeated more than once uh, for the betterment of the software, and this spiral model are used in huge projects. That's why it is in this model we need more documentation, more management and risk assessment risk assessment experts.
Okay. Anyone
As this is
else? Okay, I got your point, Anil Ratan. Anyone else who want to ask something regarding spiral model? Okay, then thank you, Pradeep and Nilratan, for your presentation. The next group is Bhargav and Saidur Sheikh. Bhargav and Saidur, you share your screen and start your presentation.
Yes, all right, sir. Hello. Is my screen is visible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So my topic of discussion is today's presentation on a V model. So it is made by me and my classmate Bhargav Kailita. So let's start. So in short, our topic of discussion will be in divided into 7 parts, like objective and about the introduction and the diagram of the V model and what kind of phases are there in V model and its advantages, disadvantages, and at last the conclusion. So at first, coming to the introduction, it means verification and validation. So V model actually means verification and validation. Just like the waterfall model, the life cycle of the V model is a sequential path of the execution of the process. So everyone heard about the waterfall model. Like in waterfall model, the next phase is all, and the next phase is only done after completing of the its previous phase. So just like the waterfall model, V model also in same like that. So after completing of one step, then we can go to the next step. So each phase must be completed before the next phase begins. So same here. The testing of the product is planned in parallel with the corresponding phase of development. So like in waterfall model, we can only test the product only after the completion of this of the whole task. But in the case of V model, a parallel testing is done in every step. So like going to the objective, it should be used for small to medium sized project where requirement are clearly defined. So in that case, in V model, the requirement should be clearly understandable. So the customer so the customer should be likely to say that he should be very clear about what is his requirements are. So it should be chosen when simple technical resources are already available with needed technical expertise. So coming to the figure about the V model. So here you can see it's shaped in V. In it's one part is verification phase and the second phase is validation phase. So it's divided into developer's life cycle and it's in the second phase it's the tester's life cycle. So at first we have to come to the business requirement specification. So from the customer we have to take all his requirements that what he actually needs about his software. So after clearly understanding the business about his business requirement, then we give this specification to our testing engineers that he will test about the acceptance testing. Is that if all the requirements are been will be satisfied by the software will be not, it will be tested by our testing engineers, and then again our developer will create a BRS actually. So business requirement specification on that for upon on the business upon on the customer's business requirement. He will create a business requirement specification on that, and it will come to the next step. Then it comes system requirement specification. So now our developing engineers will create a system requirement specification, so simply SRS, and it will he will give this to the testing engineers, and the testing engineers will check if the system integration is available or not, like all the system, will it be available to create the software or not. Then for the next phase, it's high level design. The developer will check all the will create a high level design, actually, which is software design, software design, and on the contrary, our testing engineers will check its component testing. It will check all the components, is it available or not, like the hardware and the other software, is there, is it available with them or not. Then for the next step, it will come to the low level of designing. In this low level designing, actually this is a module upgradation phase. So in that phase, our developer will create the module and deliver it to the testers, and the tester engineer will check its unit testing. So it will be doing in the very low level of testing. And if all the requirements is correct, then we'll go to the coding phase. But I want to I want to say something on that. Like in waterfall model, we can only come back to the next step if the first step is already done. But in V model, what you can do, it's what you can do is, if there is any some error in the previous phase, then you can revert back to the previous phase and correct it. Then only can we come to the next phase. So actually, V model is introduced to overcome this drawback of this waterfall model, that we can only be done, the testing only can be done at the last phase. But in the V model, the testing phase is simultaneously be done with developing in its phase. So in V model, if there is any error in the previous phase, or is there any change in the customer requirement, then we can come back to the its previous phase, and we can change this requirement, and then we can come back to the next phase. But we can jump from this first phase to third phase. We can only jump from the only one step higher, like this one. So and in this slide, I have written something like requirements, the phases about this. We have already, I think, discussed about these things. So yeah, requirements in this model, the requirements are gathered before its development, and a system test plan is created. The plan test focuses on meeting the functionality specified on the requirement gathering. So I think these things already been discussed by me. And the high level design, yes, it focuses on system architecture and design. It provides overview of the solution, platform, system, product and service process. And integrated test plan is created here, as well as in order to test the pieces of the software system ability to work together. And low level designing, here is the actual software components of software are designed. It defines the actual logic for each and every component of the system. Component tests are created in this phase as well. So like if we just discuss about this figure, then you can understand about the whole model of this V. So that's all from my end about this software designing life cycle in this V model regard. So I would like to call my colleague Vargav Kalita to please continue from this onwards. So yeah, Vargav.
Morning, everyone. Now I will be talking about the advantages of V model. So first advantage is it is simple and easy to use. The second is testing activities like planning, test design happens well before coding. Then this saves a lot of time, avoids the workflow of the defects, works well for small projects where requirements are easily understood. Now the disadvantages are it is very rigid and cost flexible. Software is developed during the implementation phase, so no early prototypes of the software are produced. And if any changes happen, then the test requirements documents are already been updated. Now going to the conclusion of the V model presentation. High confidence of the customer is required for choosing the V model approach, since no prototypes are produced. There is a very high risk involved in meeting expectations. So thank you all about, this is all about the project of V model. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. My question to Bharat is that in V model you have mentioned that the requirement is fixed and easy to use. Okay. Then what is the difference between V model and waterfall model, or why should we go for V model instead of waterfall model?
Yes, sir. Sir, sir, V model is like the alternate of waterfall model. The flexibility of waterfall model is very rigid, and the flexibility of V model is little flexible.
Flexible in the sense.
Means it
Saidur,
is
you
easy.
please share your screen again. I want to see your presentation. Yes, continue. Bhargav.
Sir, it is means it is easy to use, and V model testing activities start with the first stage, but in waterfall model testing activities start after the development activities are over.
Okay. Saidur, go to the diagram. Bhargav,
Sure.
the high level here in this diagram, it is mentioned high level design and low level design. Can you justify what is high level design and low level design?
Sir, in the high level design, it focuses on the system architecture and design. It also provides overview of the solution, the product and system. And in the low level design, it defines the actual logic for each and every component of the system.
Please repeat what is low level.
It defines the actual logic for each and every component of the system.
Actual logic means
Means the software components needed there for the software to be designed.
okay. Can you explain the different testing phases here as it mentioned here? Like what is acceptance testing, what is system integration testing, components testing, and what is unit testing?
কি বলে?
In the testing phases, there are 4 different types of testings. Can you explain what does it actually mean? What is acceptance testing, what is system integration testing, what is component testing, what is unit testing?
Sir, acceptance testing is a method of software testing where a system is tested for acceptability.
Okay. Next,
And
what is system integration?
sir, in the system integration testing, the complete application, it tests the complete application with its functionality, interdependency, and communication. So it means it tests the functional and non-functional requirements of the application.
Okay, thank you, Bhargav. Saidur, my question is to you that uh, what is the difference between waterfall model and V model?
So in waterfall model, you see, the testing is done at the last of the coding. But in V model, there is a testing phase with every developing phase. So if there is any change, we can justify within that, or if there is any change in the previous phase, then we can revert back to its previous phase. Then we can change it here. Then we can come to the next phase. So I think if for that the time is consumed and the hardware, the main work is consumed in this regard in this V model.
Okay, okay, thank you both of you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next group is Nikhil and Chandrasekhar. Both are absent today. Why?
We don't know, sir.
David and Sanglim.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you start your presentation.
Okay, sir, is my sound audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. So, my name is David Rimo, and my partner's name is Chenglim Gongpang. Today's our topic name is Agile Model. So, we'll study about Agile Model. Here I've divided into parts. What are the contents? What is Agile? How does it works? Why we use Agile models? Life models of Agile model. Life models, it has diagrams, advantages, disadvantages, and Agile manifesto lastly. So I'll start with what is Agile. Agile is nothing but a time-boxed, iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project instead of trying to deliver it all at once near the end. So what it says that Agile is nothing, it uses iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally. Here you can see in the pictures also, instead of making all the rock at once, you collect small pebbles and make it large, like you can go it incrementally. Picture says it very clearly. And the next point is, it works by breaking the project down into little bits of user functionality called stories, prioritizing them and continuously delivering them in short 2-week cycles called iterations. What it says that while doing your projects, you while doing your project, you break down your project in smaller parts, uh, which is called as stories. You prioritize them. Prioritize them means like you make a list where the most important one is on the top list and the least important one is on the bottom list, and you start making from the most important part. And every 2 cycle weeks, you start delivering them to your customer, where like you interact with your customer, like if everything is okay or not, and it is called iterations. going to the next point, how does it work? So here I have wrote some points on how this agile model works by dividing it parts by parts. So the first part is you make a list. What you do is here is you sit down with your customer and make a list of features they would like to see in the software. And then the list of features become the to-do list for your project. The next point is you size things up. So what you do here is you size your stories relative to each other. Size means you can also say size means you can also say estimates. Yeah. So what you do is you estimate your stories relative to each other and coming up with a guess as to how long you think each story will take. So you have to estimate like how long each where you divide the small parts, right? You remember what I said? You estimate how long it will take to build and you size things there up. So number point 3 point is you set some priorities. This means that like most lists, there's always seems to be more to do than time allows. In most cases, there's always more to do and you have very little time. So in here, what you do is you ask your customer to prioritize their list so that you get the most important stuff to be done first, and then we save the least important task for the last. Number 4 point is you start executing. Here you start delivering some value. You start from the top and work your way to the bottom by building, iterating, and getting feedback from your customer. Here, what I want to say is that the advantage of agile model is that you are always ready to adapt to the changes as per required by the customer, which means that the customer might want to change the end result or want some changes in between the software. So here what we do is that we interact with the customer and get their feedback. After every iteration is done, to know if everything is okay or not, we interact with our customer or to know if there are some changes required. And lastly, point number 5 is that you update the plan as you go. So as you can, so as you and your customer starts delivering the project or like starts making the software, one or two things is going to happen. You'll discover that you are going fast enough, everything is okay, which is good, or either you'll discover that you have too much to do and you don't have enough time. At this point, you can do either let's cut scope and push or push the date and ask for more money, where I recommend you to do less and cut scope. And next point is why we use agile methods. Point number 1 is improve customer involvement. Why is it improve? Why does it improve customer involvement? Because here what we do is we interact with customer oftenly, like in the first definition it says every weeks. So like every 2 weeks, we don't have to wait for the end product and then show them customer the last product. Other than that, what we do is we meet with customers every 2 weeks and see if everything is okay. So what does it does that improve customer involvement? It also increases the quality, because with every meeting with customer, we know that if everything is okay or not. So it satisfies the customer with every quality. So it also increases the quality. It simplifies releases. Yeah, involvement with customers also simplify the releases, where we ask if everything is okay or not, or we ask them if they need some changes or not. So involvement with customer is the main prioritizing in this agile model. It also drive down risks. Like example for software model. Oh, waterfall model. Sorry. In waterfall model, what we do is after we make the project or the software, if the customer doesn't like it, we have to do it all from the start. Instead of that, in agile model we do is we break down the project from part to part, and then after making every part, we interact with the customer. What does it do is it drive down risks at the end. So for the next, for the further study, I would like partner Cheng Lim to present the agile model. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible, sir? Hello.
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Thank you. I'll be sharing some of the advantages, disadvantages, the manifesto, and life cycle of agile models. So, in life cycle of agile models, there are 6 stages: uh, the requirements, design, development, testing, deployment, and the reviews. Um, Next, advantages of agile models. Well, in advantages, the customer satisfaction is rapid, and then there are continuous development, and then delivery of the software. The next one is there are interactions between the people, like the customers, developers, and the testers. The third point is the working software is delivered frequently. And then the next point, there is continuous attention to technical excellence and the good design. Regular adaptation to changing circumstances. And the last point, even late changes in requirements are welcome. Disadvantages of agile models. Well, in disadvantages, the projects can go off track quickly, and agile model is not suitable for small development of projects. And then in agile model, the cost of development is high compared to other models. And then the last point is in agile models, we need experienced programmers, like not for the not for people who are freshers. Last point, last agile manifesto. It involves the individuals and individuals' interactions over the tools and the process used. The working product over comprehensive documentation, collaboration over contract negotiation, and the responding to changes over following a plan. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Our presentation is done.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So my question to both of you is that actually which characteristics of this particular model differentiate this model from the other model?
So, sir, here we don't have to make the whole project like it's not other unlike waterfall model. We don't look. We can go back and we are always ready to adapt the changes in between if the users if the customer wants. Like if customer wants some changes while we are making the project, we are welcome. We are very much welcome to do it. That's it, sir.
Okay. What is the major advantages of this model? There are so many advantages as you mentioned, but what is the most important or major one?
So most important one is the customer satisfaction by rapidly, continuously delivering of useful interaction rather than using processes and tools.
Okay, thank you both of you. Till now we have completed 6 presentations. Two is still remaining. So tomorrow I will take the remaining 2 presentation. As you mentioned, you have class today. Today from 11 to 12, the remaining 2 groups have to give their presentation. Okay. The remaining 2 group is Wilson and Shrishlivan, and
Sir, today or tomorrow, sir?
tomorrow.
Oh, okay, sir.
And Nikhil and Chandrasekhar Yadav. So Zitul in today Nikhil and Chandrasekhar are absent. So inform them that tomorrow they have to give the presentation. The remaining 2 group is Welson Tripura and Shish Livon, and Nikhil Poddar and Chandrasekhar Yadav from 11. So thank you everyone for attending the class.